Greetings, chess friends. Let's jump right into round number 5, and I must say, sad to report, this one was a heartbreaker. Really, I feel like I stood up to the task of playing an international master, finally trying to break the streak of playing up with the black pieces, very difficult, and again, under time pressure, under really quality play by my opponent, things started to get so messy in this one. We have tons of, as you see in the recap, we have tons of crazy moves, surprises, and really, as usual in the chaos, the stronger player comes out on top. So let's see. We started with an English here, e4, and often these type of games turn into a Sicilian hedgehog structure. So d4, and when we capture, this is as if white had started with e4, black had played c5, Sicilian defense, and we kind of went that path. So we, by a roundabout way, achieved this so-called hedgehog structure. So what is this all about? Essentially, black's position is very solid, covering all the squares on the 5th rank. So it's interesting, and I like the dynamic position. My opponent comes up with an idea that I had really not seen in an actual game before, or perhaps ever, just castling long and throwing the pawns forward. He said he's seen it in some correspondence games, and the engines don't really care, which really is amazing and interesting to just play castles. So we knew this game was going down an exciting path, and I was up to the task here for a while. King b1, actually an interesting moment. I would say the first interesting moment. So, of course, this knight is not developed. Kind of the key moment to castle develop, or we could just take this pawn. But of course, bishop is going to take that. Queen takes. That was forced, and then rook c1 really puts black in a precarious position. Anywhere you move the queen is going to run into serious problems. A move like queen b4, you can play a3, close to getting your queen trapped here. If you had gone anywhere backwards, a knight move would have uncovered the rook. So really dangerous here. Pretty easy to see once your opponent offers something like that. King b1, a sly move, but okay. I played here knight b c6, developing my last piece, and castling, just following the fundamentals of chess. Here, rook c1, knight takes knight. I was really happy with this game as it was progressing. Here, rook b8 gets a question mark. The engine seems really strict in this game. A lot of both of our moves are critiqued by the engine as dubious or question marks, inaccuracies here and there. But as we're playing the game, it felt really, tense game all the way through. And you cannot see here, but the time definitely played a role in that. So I like this little regrouping that I did, and I've played many games in this. I played queen d8, queen f8, maybe a little excessive, bishop c6, and kind of buried all the pieces in there and just waited for a good moment to play one of these pawn breaks. Here looks like b5 is playable, but I played queen f8 and bishop e8. Again, getting a question mark, but when you look at this position, it's not clear how white is really breaking through. Any of these pawn pushes have their own drawbacks, and he plays f4, knight c6. Notice this move is very uncomfortable for the rook. Knight a4 gets a question mark, and here playing the central punch that really black is always looking for in these type of games, d5. And notice now the threat of bishop taking that knight. Once we move this knight out of the way, that'll be possible. Now that knight is guarded by bishop. Queen cannot take. So everything is really coming, and again, b5, capture, capture. All the pieces are spring-loaded. I felt great here. Engine still giving white a slight edge, but you can imagine a human player really walking a tightrope. So far, so good. C takes d5, knight b4. And I played this move kind of uncharacteristically quickly, more to emphasize the point that I knew this was really good. These bishops are just really a sight to behold. Black's position has a lot of energy. Rook c7, mistake here, and bishop takes a4. Engine also likes e takes d5, feels good. Notice moves like d4 are also in the cards if white is not careful. So that could be absolutely taking over. Bishop takes a4 is so tempting, though. Capture, capture, capture. Total mess here. Engine giving roughly zeros, but any human could see this game is totally up in the air. These crazy doubled a-pawns, equal material at this exact moment. White's king is wide open here. Rook on the 7th. Queen spring-loading the bishop. It's really a mess. This is chaos. Bishop d2. I would really have to commend my opponent on this move. The time was ticking low, and bishop d2 is not an easy move to find. Really not even clear why that's the best move. Avoiding d4, threatening to take, but that's only just helping black to activate the bishop. It's really interesting, but a great move there. Really, perhaps right here, the move that won the game, bishop d2. D takes e4, and check this out. Brilliant moves back to back here. Rook takes e7. I took a long time here because I saw bishop was getting captured, and then he would take. Essentially, that was the trick he was setting up. But I also saw here that rook takes d2 is possible, and two brilliant moves back to back. That you just don't see. Rook takes and rook takes. And rook c7. This move gets a blunder, but I have got to tell you, I was terrified. Here, if queen takes rook, really black is doing pretty well. Up a pawn. These double pawns are really bad. This pawn, strong. The king's still not safe. Black feeling good here. I really was feeling good throughout this whole tornado of captures. Rook c7, and man, I was nervous. Queen d8 says miss, but my opponent commended me on this move. Let's look. The engine here wanting rook b d8. Capture, capture, capture. Oh my goodness. And here, not even taking, here, knight c2. Okay, unfathomable that anyone would find that. And the point is, if you move your queen, then take the rook. Not even. Knight a3. And then king takes a7, f7. Okay, craziness there. I was pretty nervous. I played queen d8. My opponent here, I thought this was a draw. I really thought, okay, finally, I'm scoring against a high-rated opponent. Rook takes f7, queen d4. And I thought for sure the threat of mate, and he will capture, move, capture, and of course don't step into the line of the d file, but just check, 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 draw. That's what I thought. But after queen d8, he played queen c1, again keeping the fight alive. Engine doesn't love it, but this move really was something. The bishop hanging, and I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. I didn't even consider it. I saw rook c2, and I just played it. Rook c2, that was the move. But rook takes bishop. My opponent said he was planning rook e d7, and again, black has the unfathomable move to put black ahead. Brilliant. Capture, capture, knight d3. What? What? Knight d3, black is winning. Here, rook b2. Queen has to take it. Black is a better endgame. If you move the king, this is threatening. Mate. Where does this rook go? g2, f2, h2. Threatening mate. And my goodness. Okay. Long variations, but black is better, let's just say. Never would have found that. So taking the bishop, although black has a way, I would have never, ever found it. Rook c2. Crazy enough, look at that move, but in order to capture this. You do let go of this rook. I thought this was wonderful in time pressure to find this, capturing this rook. Everything was great, and here all we had to do was move our queen to a different square. Queen f8, white starts to take over. Bishop c4, another good move. Commend my opponent on some really good moves. But queen d8. Keeping that back rank eyed, but really, I think the key to this one is that knight d3 is always an important move if given the opportunity. Really, the engine giving king a1, rook c4, h5. No moves that are so scary. You just can't do the same move as in the game because queen takes rook. There's no discovery check here because queen takes. So, yeah, this was really tough. Here's the game, rook c7. I played queen f8. That seems to throw the game away. What a brawl this has been. Still, black is up a pawn, but bishop at c4 is really a dagger, and knight d3, I'm starting to panic here. Queen d6, let's see, the engine gives as the best resistance. Bishop f7. Oh, king f8. I would have never played king f. I would have, because rook c8 is checkmate. Queen c3, bishop to b3. That's a very human move. Bishop to b3. And white is slightly better. Still equal material. Still white's king is not safe. This pawn, wow, this would have been, again, still a very tough position to navigate. Okay, so queen d6 was still possible, but maybe here knight d3 really throws the game away. Queen c3, a good move. Queen b4 in panic mode. b5, really not gonna cut it. Capture, capture, bishop takes. Yeah, white is just really doing well. I mean, this knight is still scary, but the rook on the 7th, these pawns are just gonna rip open the king side. So queen b4 goes into this endgame, and even though this pawn drops, I was just dreaming of holding this. Really tough. Then I was just hoping for a few tricks and waking up to the fact that the stronger player had, again, pulled the rug out from under me. This was a tough one. Hoping here for a miracle capture. The back rank is weak, but knight c6. This would have been a nice little trickaroo here with threatening the rook, and then when we take it as check. Engine still keeping equal. But my opponent played bishop f7 and wrapped this up pretty nicely. Still, you could imagine black having some counterplay. It was faint, but possible. Let's see. Here, perhaps knight d3. And the idea that rook c8 is threatening checkmate. So we can quickly activate the rook. For example, if rook takes pawn, a very human move, this is at least inching towards equality. White is clearly better, but equal material. For example, rook e8. Yeah. Maybe here b4 is a very human move. Okay, white is better, but still some fight left in the game. But rook f8, f6, kind of an interesting way to go. Again, knight d3, but I was pretty upset at this point already, kind of not 100% focused. Rook takes, of course we can't take because rook e8 is checkmate on the next move. h4, which also just doesn't trick anyone. Down here to just seconds, I played knight d8. Gets an excellent, but that's laughable. Rook takes h4, and here I resigned. There's just no even stopping g6. g6 is just a crushing move and a pretty sad position. This one was really heartbreaking. Thought in the middle game we had an all-out war when we played d5. d5, I thought the gates are open. I thought I had this one with knight b4, and very scary position, very hard for a human to navigate. So many different options, capture here, there, what details those captures will change. But my opponent really played well. Just want to highlight again the move bishop d2. A really fighting move, looking to capture this. is the idea. And then the double brilliant move here. Oh, goodness. And some near misses, both of us. What could have been. So, interesting game. Next game, we are coming up on round 6, where I got a forfeit win. So, I'll be joining you back in round 7 with 3 points out of the 6 games, but we did get a forfeit win, which is kind of bittersweet. I went all the way there. I wanted to play, but that's all right.